to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Hey there, live from the new Loft 100 studios in sunny San Diego, California. Big Biz Show is on the air. Great to have you along today. 110 million TV homes strong, 150 U.S. radio stations, iHeartRadio across the country, as well as Biz Talk Radio Network, BizTV, and of course American Forces Network in 175 countries and all the ships at sea. Great to see you guys all over there. Look at the band over here. Great to see you guys. Give me some.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Look at that.
Ba-boom.
Great to have you along as we sort of break the ice on the new studios here. One guy that I can't wait to come in and see the new studios in person is a good friend of mine, a client of mine, also a regular on the program. His name is Robert Nistico. Robert Nistico is the founder and CEO of Splash Beverage Group. Their stock symbol, they are publicly traded SBEV. And of course, Robert was, I think, the 5th employee and the senior vice president, general manager of Red Bull North America. Maybe you heard of it?
I've heard of that company. Yes, I have.
So he's taken his, he took that was a startup that went to $1.5 billion in sales.
Yeah.
And of course he was, he's a beverage guy for many, many years, and their business is thriving, as you can see. Look at every press release that comes out of Splash Beverage Group. But I want to spend some time with him, and he's joining us here via Zoom. And welcome to the studio, buddy. Good to see you.
Hey guys, welcome. Congratulations on your new dig.
Hey, listen, we can't wait to get you out here, pal. We got to have you spend some time out here with us for more than a couple minutes. So we're gonna hold you to that. Hey, listen, since we haven't been on the air with you for about 3 weeks, why don't we just get a good overview of what's been going on with respect to what the latest is with Splash Beverage, because I want to give a top down of what you guys are doing now, where you're going. But let's cover the whole thing today.
Yeah, you bet. Just real quick, most recently we filed our Q1 results, which were great. Another record quarter. Revenues are increasing, and we're heading in the right direction on all key metrics. Very excited about that. We're right on track for our budget as well, so that's also very good. And most recently, in addition to announcing some new influencers out there that including Drew Brees, we've also launching our new energy drink, TapOut Energy. It's cognitively focused, all the bells and whistles of a normal energy drink, but we are focused on mental acuity and mental focus. So we're very excited about that.
Now, Robert, is that the new packaging for all of TapOut, or is that just the mental acuity part of TapOut?
This is the energy drink. This is a
nice
energy drink like you've seen many, many times.
Well, I believe we need to have several hundred of those sent over here to the studio, because this is all we got here. So Mike's going to finish these up today. Michael drink up these today after his hangover last night.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, can I tell you this? I'm not sure. I'm just going to say this on the air. This is maybe the best hangover cure I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, I don't drink a lot, so if I have a couple of pops and I have a headache the next morning, I know this is not the reason they made it.
Right.
But because I don't know what magic you have in this, Robert, this is a great hangover cure.
An All-American lacrosse player told me, who's playing back east, when I mentioned that we had Robert on all the time and he was tapped out.
Yeah.
He's the one who first told me. He goes, dude, that's my go-to for being hungover.
Yeah. It's
the great stuff.
maybe you have a college cult brand out of nowhere.
Right.
Can I interrupt you just for 1 second, because you have talked about, from the very first show you were on with us 2 years ago, that influencer marketing is so important, but there's an important piece of it because a lot of folks fail at it. Talk about how important influencers are to Splash Beverage, and then talk about why people fail.
Yeah, absolutely. It's critical, and it's used and overused in so many situations. One of the things that we just adore about Drew Brees, not only is he Drew Brees, I mean, the guy's perfect, but he's also a nutritional expert. So it makes sense that he's up there in the face, in front of our consumers, talking about the functionality of the product and the compound interaction. Sounds kind of dorky, but that's important. So we just don't throw people against a brand and the brand image or the brand ethos just because you recognize the face. There has to be some interconnectivity to it. And I think that's what people forget.
Yeah.
And right. And remember, if you don't like that athlete or that singer or that actor, you're kind of tied to them at that point. So you need to make sure all the dots are connected.
Have you considered, because obviously you have a brand ambassador for TapOut, do you have a brand ambassador for, let's say, Salt Tequila? Or
Sully.
Well, it was formerly Russ T. Nails was our. We have a Salt Tequila bottle up here that is literally half full because Russ loved Salt Tequila, and then of course I want to also bring up, the biggest brand ambassador at all is Major League Baseball for you guys, I think, and that's with the Copa Divina because you're in a couple of stadiums. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and we keep adding and adding and adding to our large venue points of distribution for all brands, not just large stadiums. In fact, we're now with Salt Tequila in a very small portion of Florida with Buffalo Wild Wings. And
yeah, I love that.
It's really exciting, and they're actually pouring our own margarita recipe, if you will, right off the tap handle. And we're in. I was told last night we're into 10 stores now and growing throughout the state. Eventually, we'll be coast to coast with them. It takes the time, but we're very excited about that.
Hey, Robert, let's spend a few minutes talking about acquisition because you closed your first acquisition, Copa Divina, when I first met you, which was a Shark Tank brand. It fit perfectly in your portfolio strategy. Acquisition, I know from just knowing you as a pal, as well as having you on the air, is a key component to your growth strategy in addition to sort of an organic portfolio growth. Talk about your philosophy on that just as a CEO, but then also talk about the stuff you can talk about, the future here. Are acquisitions still on your horizon?
Absolutely, and there's two paths to success here. Obviously, we're focused on growing our legacy brands organically, and we're doing a good job at that if you want to take a look at our filings. But acquisition is really the reason we're here. Think about the team we put together. Our board is incredible. Our management team, second to none. We have a formal distribution arrangement with AB1 and InBev, so we can go anywhere we need to in the Budweiser network or eventually internationally. You don't put that together for a $19 million company. So yes, we're constantly evaluating acquisition targets. We're looking at 3 right now. Don't have a crystal ball. I always say there's a 4-letter word, it's splash, and it's done. Nothing is done until it's done.
Right.
But we are heavy down the path of acquisition evaluation, and if all goes well, we'll execute on 1 or 2 of them.
Robert, Business 101 here for our, we've got audience members that are CEOs of public companies. We have audience members here that are just learning about the stock market. But one thing that you're an expert in is acquisition because acquisitions, if done right, add extra layers of margin in increased addition to kind of a sustainability story for a company, right? I mean, as far as to sustain, and I'm not talking about Popo Loco, which was actually, that acquisition did talk about a sustainability story. But I'm talking about a corporation's sustainability really depends on revenue growth, and part of that revenue growth sometimes is just buying other companies. Talk about just the overall strategy and why that still continues to be important, because you're a beverage company. You'd think that you'd be out there just thinking about creating new beverages, but I think there's a faster path to liquidity for you, and I think it is acquisition, right?
Yeah, correct. Even though we consider ourselves distribution experts and we have access to virtually every distribution channel, it still takes a ton of time and capital and risk to incubate products. So the fastest path to profitability and higher gross profit is acquisition.
Yeah.
So, and we're also, the vision for the Splash platform is really set up for that. Very few people are going to come buy Splash, but they'll come buy our brands off our platform.
Sure.
So when we acquire a company or we look to acquire a company, there are a lot of shared services with Gain, which also help Gain and add GP and ultimately net revenue as well. So yeah, adding to the portfolio and adding to our top line and adding to our bottom line through acquisition is absolutely critical and the reason we're here.
Hey, per your website, you call yourself brand builders, and of course you've got the 4 major brands here being TapOut, Popo Loco, Copa Divino, and Salt Tequila. If you had a crystal ball, I know you're a CEO of a public company, but in 10 years from now, do you think it's a 10 brand company? Is it ideal to be a 40 brand company, or is it ideal to be maybe a 6 brand company, or is there such a number?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a magic number. We certainly have the ability with our infrastructure and our team to handle more brands. And if we buy something, say, that's larger than Splash, it's going to come with a lot of headcount, and we'll utilize that headcount and fold it into our organization. So what that magic number is, there isn't one. It really comes down to how the brand interacts in the front end of the business and the back end of the business. Really, really important. We've passed on brands, Sully, that people were looking at us going, why'd you pass on that brand? Well, maybe the distribution network didn't line up, or maybe the vendors didn't line up properly. Who knows?
That's why you're the CEO, buddy. Thanks so much. Robert Nistico, CEO, Splash Beverage Group. SBEV is their stock symbol. SBEV. Go to splashbeveragegroup.com. More big business.